The 25-26 FAFSA is out now. Hi, I'm Jillian Sitar, and I'm the Director of Higher Education at Schoolhouse Connection. Here are some new changes about unaccompanied homeless youth on the FAFSA. Let's walk through them. When you are starting the FAFSA, you need to create an FSA ID, and you'll answer some questions about your demographics. When you get to the FAFSA, you'll get to this question that says, at any time on or after July 1st, 2024, was a student unaccompanied and either homeless or self-supporting and at risk of being homeless? When we're talking about unaccompanied, that means being not in the physical custody of a legal parent or guardian. When we're talking about homelessness, that means lacking fixed, regular, and adequate nighttime housing. This can look like a lot of different things, so we have a few examples of what that can look like here. Commonly, we see examples of staying with other people. Maybe you are couch surfing in a doubled up situation. Perhaps you are living in a car. These are all examples of what experiencing homelessness can look like. The next bucket is self-supporting and at risk of homelessness. That is when a student pays for their own living expenses, including that fixed, regular, and adequate nighttime housing, and when that housing may cease to be fixed, regular, and adequate. So, for example, a student who's being evicted and they're unable to find next housing. For students who are experiencing homelessness with their families, they would not answer yes to this question. They would say no to this question and continue filling out the FAFSA as instructed. But going back to this question, let's say you meet this definition, unaccompanied, homeless, and or self-supporting and at risk of being homeless, we'll answer yes. An immediate question will pop up and ask, did any of the following determine the student was homeless or at risk of being homeless? Director or designee of an emergency or transitional shelter, street outreach program, homeless youth drop-in center, or other programs serving those experiencing homelessness, a student's high school or school district homeless liaison or designee, director or designee of a project supported by a federal TRIO or GEAR program grant, financial aid administrator, or none of these apply. All of these people listed here are considered authorized entities. Authorized entities can provide unaccompanied homeless youth determinations for the FAFSA. If you are currently in high school or just graduated from high school, you might have been connected with someone called a McKinney-Vento liaison or a high school counselor or some other high school staff person that knew about your situation. These individuals can provide an unaccompanied homeless youth determination as an authorized entity. On this page, you'll find a link to our homeless liaison directory where you can find out who your liaison is and get an unaccompanied homeless youth determination. Let's say you are connected with your school district liaison, or also known as your McKinney-Vento liaison. You would check off this box and hit continue. This screen will pop up, which will say, based on your answers, you're an independent student. This means you don't need to answer questions about your parents to complete your FAFSA form. After you complete the FAFSA, a financial aid administrator will follow up with you and request your unaccompanied homeless youth determination. If you already submitted your determinations, you do not need to do anything else. If your financial aid administrator hasn't asked you for a determination, follow up with your school to see if there is anything else that they need on their end. Again, those authorized entities that I talked about all can provide that unaccompanied homeless youth determination to you. So say you do meet the definition of an unaccompanied homeless youth, but you haven't been working with any of the people and programs listed here, you would answer none of these apply. This screen will then pop up, which says, based on your answers, you're an unaccompanied homeless youth. As an unaccompanied homeless youth, you can proceed without parent information. I want to direct your eyes to the second to last paragraph that says, if you have indicated that you are unaccompanied and either homeless or self-supporting and at risk of being homeless, the financial aid office of your school is required to make a determination of your status based on a written statement from you or a documented interview with you. Please contact your school's financial aid office to complete this process. You want to confirm that you meet this definition and then reach out to your financial aid administrator and request an unaccompanied homeless youth determination. We have some steps and guidance to prepare for an interview or to provide a written statement listed here on this page. We are going to go back one more time to the homelessness question. So say you read this question and you don't think you meet this definition. So then you say no, and then we hit continue. You then would get this next question that pops up asking about unusual circumstances. Do unusual circumstances prevent the student from contacting their parents, or would contacting their parents pose a risk to the student? Then there are some examples of what that could be like. And then it says right before you answer the question, if the student's circumstances resulted in not having a safe and stable place to live, they may be considered a homeless youth and should review the answer to the previous question about being unaccompanied and homeless. A lot of these examples might be reasons why a student is an unaccompanied homeless youth. The FAFSA is telling you to go back to the homeless question so you can answer yes, you meet this definition of an unaccompanied homeless youth and want to go through the process of an unaccompanied homeless youth. For more clarity about this process, replay the section of this video where we talk about getting an unaccompanied homeless youth determination from a financial aid administrator. But say if you really don't meet the definition of an unaccompanied homeless youth, you would answer yes, and then this next screen would pop up talking about provisional independence. It just reminds students that as a provisionally independent student, you don't need to answer questions about your parents, but you do need to reach out to your financial aid office to provide documentation to verify your circumstances. So as a provisional independent student, you will undergo something called a dependency override. The financial aid administrator will have a conversation with you and decide if you meet the definition of a provisional independent student. Typically, financial aid administrators will ask for letters of recommendation, letters of support. Sometimes it's up to 3 letters. You will hit continue and can fill out the FAFSA as instructed. As a reminder, unaccompanied homeless youth and provisional independent student are not the same thing and should be treated as different and distinct processes. We know that was a lot of information, and so we hope this was helpful. If you need more information, check out our Schoolhouse Connection FAFSA page.